I'm meteorologist John Dawson. This is the Fox 26 YouTube Tropical Update. Glad you're checking back in here once again. Things remain to be fairly quiet overall. Definitely a few little tropical waves out there to point out, and I just kind of want to do a quick review on where we are as far as the numbers go. But the big picture across the Atlantic Basin, the National Hurricane Center again today has said there's no areas that they expect to develop within the next 5 days as far as tropical cyclones are concerned. So we like to see when they put out that outlook that says no tropical cyclones expected over the next 5 days. We like to see that for sure. Down to the south, close to the equator actually, is where we have a little bit of some tropical wave activity in a couple different spots. Not really expected to really turn into anything. A little bit east of Puerto Rico. There's another area here that again just kind of showing some signs of some very beginning, but when you look at the forecast and what those environments are like around it, it just doesn't look like that's going to turn into anything. When we look into the Caribbean, definitely some low pressure areas that are just sort of unsettled weather for sure would be a way to describe the Western Caribbean right now. You could see all of the rain there, but nothing's organized. It's just that there's, for the most part, some unsettled weather that's out there. The Gulf of Mexico is a little bit of an interesting setup right now in the fact that we have fairly decent winds coming in from the east that would really, in the northern portions of the Gulf. And then you remember that front that moved through on Friday in the Houston area. It's still kind of stationed, somewhat lingering. You could kind of make out a line if you really tried to draw that in where some of that rain and storm activity is happening that's out there. But overall, again, as far as the forecasts go, not looking for anything that would develop anything overall as we're looking at what's out there. So if we take a minute to talk a little bit about the numbers that we've seen so far across the area, I'll start with, remember, NOAA does their outlooks in May, and then they update that again in August, and they increase those numbers just a little bit, keeping right on track that we'd see a well above average season. Remember, these are our new seasonal numbers that we set up for this year with 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 of those becoming major hurricanes. That's now the average that we're using when you look back in the last 30 years of activity. This is what we would expect. And here's what we've done so far. We've done 20 named storms. We've done 7 of those being hurricanes, and 4 of them turned into major hurricanes. And if you'll remember correctly, when we were kind of looking back the last couple of days, I've been talking about the names and things like that. We've got 1 name left, so there's 21 names that they put on the list each year. So we've got 1 left, Wanda. I still think we have a chance for getting that 1 named storm with at least a full month left of hurricane season. Remember, we actually keep the records all the way through the end of the year, but the hurricane season ends at the end of November, and that's when, again, we would expect to see most of the activity over with. Probably there's still some chances that something would pop up, but here's what we've done so far, keeping above average, especially as far as the total number of storms that we've seen, and also the number of major hurricanes that we've seen. And it's definitely been active across the U.S. as well as far as what we've seen making landfall in the U.S. Glad you found us here on YouTube. Keep coming back every afternoon a little bit after 4 p.m. Even on the weekends, I'm updating our tropical updates here on YouTube. If you haven't downloaded a Fox 26 weather app, make sure you get that on your phone. That'll help you keep track of the tropics, part of your hurricane preparedness, as well as anything that's close to your area. Even if you're not in the Houston area, this app will still be able to help you out. You can punch in your home location and look up maybe if you're doing some traveling and things like that. And of course, glad you found me here on YouTube, but make sure you find me on the other social media as well. Just punch in @John Dawson Fox 26.